Welcome to Book Blink. Rohan sat alone in his room staring at his report card. Another C in math. No matter how hard he tried, he just wasn't good at numbers. His father's words echoed in his mind. Some people are just born smart and some aren't. Maybe he was one of the unlucky ones. Maybe success wasn't meant for him. But then something changed. One day his teacher handed him a book, Mindset by Carol Dweck. "Read this," she said. "It might change how you see things." Skeptical, Rohan flipped through the pages. What he discovered would shake the very foundation of how he saw himself and his abilities. The two mindsets. Carol Dweck's research reveals that our success isn't just about talent or intelligence. It's about our mindset. People generally have one of two mindsets. Fixed mindset. The belief that intelligence and abilities are set in stone. People with this mindset think, you're either born talented or you're not. When they face failure, they see it as proof that they aren't good enough. They avoid challenges, fear criticism, and easily give up. Growth mindset. The belief that intelligence and abilities can be developed through effort and learning. People with this mindset embrace challenges, learn from failures, and see effort as the path to mastery. Rohan realized something. He had been living with a fixed mindset his entire life. He had been telling himself that he was just bad at math instead of seeing it as a skill he could improve. The science behind growth, Dweck's research, backed by decades of studies, proves that the brain is like a muscle. It grows stronger with effort and practice. When we challenge ourselves, form new habits, and push through difficulties, our brain literally rewires itself. For Rohan, this was a turning point. If intelligence wasn't fixed, then his struggles in math weren't a life sentence. He could get better. All he had to do was change how he approached learning. Failure. A step forward, not backward. One of the most important lessons in mindset is that failure isn't a dead end. It's feedback. Those with a fixed mindset see failure as a personal flaw, while those with a growth mindset see it as an opportunity to improve. Think about great athletes, inventors, and entrepreneurs. Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players in history, was cut from his high school team. Instead of giving up, he worked harder because he believed he could improve. Rohan had spent years avoiding challenges because he feared failure. But now he saw it differently. What if failure wasn't a reason to quit, but a sign that he was growing? Part 2. How mindset shapes our lives. Rohan couldn't stop thinking about what he had read. If intelligence and abilities weren't fixed, how many opportunities had he missed just because he believed he wasn't smart enough? He started noticing something strange. Everywhere he looked, he saw the difference between a fixed and a growth mindset. Mindset in school, effort versus talent. In school, some students seemed naturally gifted. They answered questions quickly, aced their tests, and never seemed to struggle. Others, like Rohan, worked hard but never quite caught up. But Dweck's research revealed a shocking truth. Natural talent isn't the key to success. Effort is. She conducted a study where students were given a set of puzzles to solve. Afterward, some students were praised for their intelligence. "Wow, you're so smart," while others were praised for their effort. "Wow, you worked really hard." What happened next was incredible. The students who were praised for intelligence developed a fixed mindset. They avoided harder puzzles because they feared looking dumb. The students who were praised for effort developed a growth mindset. They took on harder challenges because they believed they could improve. Rohan thought back to his childhood. He had always been told, you're either good at something or you're not. But what if he had been told, you just need to practice more? The power of yet. One of Dweck's most powerful lessons is the power of the word yet. Instead of saying, I'm bad at math, say, I'm not good at math yet. This simple shift changes the way the brain processes challenges. It no longer sees failure as permanent, but as part of the journey to success. Rohan decided to test this for himself. The next time he struggled with a math problem, he didn't say, I can't do this. Instead, he said, I can't do this yet. It felt different. Suddenly, the frustration didn't seem like a wall. It felt like a staircase. Mindset in sports. Champions think differently. Mindset isn't just about academics. It shapes success in every area of life, including sports. Dweck studied elite athletes and found that the best performers weren't always the most naturally gifted. Instead, they had an obsession with improvement. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team but used it as motivation to train harder. Serena Williams lost countless matches early in her career but never stopped learning from her mistakes. Muhammad Ali wasn't the strongest boxer, but he had the strongest belief in his ability to grow. These athletes didn't win because of talent alone. They won because they had a growth mindset. They believed their skills could improve with effort. Rohan realized that the same rule applied to his studies. It wasn't about being born good at math. It was about training his brain, just like an athlete trains their body. Fixed mindset versus growth mindset in real life. Carol Dweck's research revealed patterns everywhere. Business leaders with a growth mindset create innovative companies, while those with a fixed mindset fear failure and avoid risks. Artists who embrace mistakes improve over time, while those afraid of criticism never reach their potential. Relationships suffer when people believe this is just who I am instead of working to improve. Rohan was starting to see the world differently. Maybe success wasn't about being born with something special. Maybe it was about believing in the power of change. Part 3. How mindset affects success. Rohan started applying the lessons from mindset in his daily life. Every time he faced a challenge, he reminded himself, it's not about being good or bad at something, it's about getting better. But then he wondered, if the growth mindset is so powerful, why doesn't everyone adopt it? Why do so many people stay stuck in a fixed mindset? Why people stay in a fixed mindset? Carol Dweck's research shows that the fixed mindset comes from deep-seated beliefs we develop as children. When parents praise their child by saying, "You're so smart," the child learns that intelligence is something they either have or don't. When teachers say, "Some people just aren't good at math," students internalize the idea that ability is fixed. When society glorifies natural geniuses like Albert Einstein or Steve Jobs, it creates the illusion that success is about inborn talent rather than effort. But this belief is dangerous. It stops people from even trying. Dweck's studies show that when people with a fixed mindset fail, they feel like they are failures. Instead of seeing mistakes as part of learning, they see them as proof that they aren't good enough. On the other hand, those with a growth mindset see failure as feedback. They adjust, improve, and keep going. The story of two students. Dweck shares the story of two students, Lisa and Jake, who both failed a math test. Lisa, fixed mindset. She believed that she wasn't a math person. After failing, she felt embarrassed, avoided studying, and started dreading math class. She told herself, "I'll never be good at this." Jake, growth mindset. He believed that failure was a sign that he needed to work harder. He asked his teacher for help, reviewed his mistakes, and practiced more. Over time, his grades improved. By the end of the semester, Lisa's grades dropped further, while Jake's scores skyrocketed. The difference? Mindset. Rohan realized that for years, he had been like Lisa, avoiding challenges because he feared failure. But now, he wanted to be like Jake. The natural talent myth. One of the biggest takeaways from mindset is that talent is overrated. Many people assume that geniuses like Mozart, Einstein, and Elon Musk were born gifted. But Dweck's research reveals that even the most successful people started as beginners. Mozart was not born a musical genius. He practiced obsessively from the age of 3. Einstein struggled in school and was told he would never succeed. Elon Musk spent years learning, failing, and improving before building Tesla and SpaceX. Success isn't about being naturally talented, it's about the relentless pursuit of growth. Applying the growth mindset to everyday life. Rohan decided to apply the growth mindset to everything he did. In school, he stopped fearing mistakes and started learning from them. In sports, he focused on improving his skills rather than comparing himself to others. In life, he stopped avoiding difficult situations and began embracing them as opportunities to grow. The more he practiced, the more he saw changes, not just in his performance, but in his confidence. He started to believe in himself, not because he was naturally smart, but because he was willing to improve. And that's when everything started to change. Part 4. Rewiring the mindset for growth. Rohan was starting to see the world differently. Every challenge, every failure, it wasn't a dead end, it was an opportunity. But changing a fixed mindset isn't easy. Years of conditioning had taught him to avoid failure, to seek validation, and to believe that intelligence and talent were fixed. He wondered, can mindset really be changed? Can we change our mindset? Carol Dweck's research shows that mindset is not permanent. The brain is like a muscle. The more we use it, the stronger it gets. In one study, students were taught about neuroplasticity, the idea that the brain grows stronger with effort. The results were mind-blowing. Students who learned about brain growth started performing better in school. They stopped seeing failure as a sign of low intelligence. They worked harder, took on challenges, and improved their grades. It was proof. Mindset is a choice. Rohan decided to rewire his own thinking. He started paying attention to his thoughts. Every time he caught himself saying, "I can't do this," he replaced it with, "I can't do this yet." At first it felt strange, but over time something incredible happened. His frustration turned into motivation. Instead of avoiding hard subjects, he leaned into them. The role of effort and perseverance. Dweck's research challenges one of the biggest myths about success. Effort is a sign of weakness. Many people believe that if you have to try hard, it means you're not naturally gifted. But the truth is the exact opposite. The greatest athletes, musicians, and scientists work harder than everyone else. The difference between the best and the average isn't talent, it's perseverance. Dweck shares the story of John McEnroe, a famous tennis player with a fixed mindset. Despite his talent, he would blame the weather, the referee, or his opponents whenever he lost. He never took responsibility, and because of that, he never reached his full potential. In contrast, players like Michael Jordan and Serena Williams took losses personally, not as defeats, but as lessons. They used failure as fuel. Rohan realized that the same principle applied to his life. Instead of blaming bad teachers or difficult subjects, he started asking himself, "What can I do to improve?" The power of embracing failure. Dweck's research proves that the most successful people fail the most. The reason is simple. They try more, take more risks, and push their limits. Thomas Edison famously failed over 10,000 times before inventing the light bulb. When asked about his failures, he didn't see them as mistakes. He said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." This mindset separates winners from quitters. Fixed mindset. Failure equals proof that I'm not good enough. Growth mindset. Failure equals feedback for improvement. Rohan realized that every time he avoided a challenge, he was actually avoiding growth. So he made a new rule for himself. Fail forward. Every mistake would be a lesson. Every struggle would be a step forward. And for the first time in his life, he started feeling unstoppable. Part 5. Mindset in Relationships, Business, and Leadership. As Rohan continued reading Mindset, he realized something surprising. This wasn't just about success in school or sports. It applied to relationships, business, leadership, and even parenting. Carol Dweck's research revealed that mindset shapes every area of life. Mindset in relationships. Many people believe that in relationships, compatibility is everything, that if two people are truly meant for each other, things should always be easy. But Dweck's research shows the opposite. Fixed mindset in relationships. People believe that love should be effortless. If problems arise, they assume the relationship is broken. Growth mindset in relationships. People see challenges as a natural part of growing together. They believe that strong relationships require effort, communication, and adaptation. She studied couples who had been together for decades and found one common factor. They viewed conflicts as opportunities to grow together. Instead of blaming each other, they worked as a team. Rohan thought about his own friendships. Whenever he had a disagreement, he used to assume the friendship was falling apart. But now he saw it differently. Relationships thrive when people are willing to grow together. Mindset in business and leadership. Dweck's research also shows that companies and leaders can have either a fixed or growth mindset. Fixed mindset. Leaders believe talent is everything. They look for geniuses and expect instant success. Growth mindset. Leaders focus on learning, adaptation, and perseverance. They create environments where employees feel safe to experiment, fail, and improve. Take two real-life examples. Enron, fixed mindset. Enron was one of the biggest companies in the world, but it collapsed because its leaders prioritized looking smart over learning and improving. They wanted talented employees rather than hard-working ones. The result? A toxic culture of ego and dishonesty. Microsoft, growth mindset. Microsoft's CEO, Satya Nadella, transformed the company by focusing on continuous learning. He encouraged employees to take risks, learn from failures, and grow. The result? Microsoft became one of the most innovative companies in the world. Dweck proves that growth mindset leaders build long-term success, while fixed mindset leaders create fragile businesses. Rohan thought about this deeply. If he wanted to succeed in life, he had to stop worrying about looking smart and start focusing on learning. Mindset in parenting and teaching. Perhaps one of the most powerful ideas in mindset is how parents and teachers shape a child's beliefs about intelligence and ability. Fixed mindset parenting. Telling children, "You're so smart," makes them fear failure because they think their intelligence is fixed. Growth mindset parenting, encouraging effort, resilience, and learning, makes children believe they can develop their abilities over time. Dweck found that children who were praised for effort rather than intelligence were more willing to take on difficult tasks. They weren't afraid of failing because they understood that failure was just part of the process. Rohan looked back at his childhood. Every time he did well in school, people told him, "Wow, you're so smart." But when he struggled, he felt ashamed, like he had lost his identity. Now, he knew that intelligence isn't something you have, it's something you build. The key lesson, who you become, is a choice. After reading this chapter, Rohan had a realization. The person he becomes in life isn't determined by talent. It's determined by his mindset. If he embraced challenges instead of avoiding them, if he learned from mistakes instead of fearing them, if he focused on improving rather than proving himself, then he could achieve anything. For the first time in his life, he truly believed in himself, not because he was born talented, but because he knew he had the power to grow. And that changed everything. Part 6. The Journey to a True Growth Mindset. Rohan felt like he had unlocked a secret that had been hiding in plain sight his entire life. Mindset was everything, but he also realized something else. Just knowing about the growth mindset wasn't enough. He had to actively practice it every day. Carol Dweck warns that many people fall into the false growth mindset trap. They say they believe in effort and learning, but deep down they still fear failure and avoid challenges. So how does someone truly build a real growth mindset? Step 1, listen to your inner voice. Dweck explains that the first step is awareness. We all have an inner voice, one that either holds us back or pushes us forward. A fixed mindset voice says, "You're not good at this, don't embarrass yourself." A growth mindset voice says, "This is hard, but you'll get better if you keep trying." At first, Rohan noticed that his inner voice was full of self-doubt. Every time he faced something difficult, his mind automatically told him to quit. But now, he caught himself. He started replacing negative thoughts with growth-oriented ones. Instead of, "I'll never be good at math," he told himself, "I just haven't mastered it yet." Instead of, "I always fail at this." He reminded himself, "Every failure is teaching me something." Slowly, he started feeling different, more confident, more willing to try. Step 2, reframe challenges as opportunities. Dweck's research shows that people with a fixed mindset see difficulties as threats, but those with a growth mindset see them as stepping stones to success. For example, a tough subject in school? It's a chance to grow smarter. A job rejection? It's feedback to help you improve. A failed project? It's a lesson on what to do better next time. Rohan decided to apply this idea in real life. Instead of running from difficult situations, he leaned into them. Every challenge became a game, a test to see how much he could grow. And something incredible happened. The same things that once made him feel anxious, hard tests, new skills, difficult conversations, suddenly felt exciting. He wasn't scared anymore, he was growing. Step 3, embrace the power of yet. One of Dweck's simplest yet most powerful ideas is the word yet. I don't understand this. I don't understand this yet. I can't do this. I can't do this yet. I'm not good at public speaking. I'm not good at public speaking yet. This one small word changes everything. It reminds us that we are always in progress, that failure isn't the end, but just a step in the process. Rohan started using this in everyday life, and it gave him a sense of control over his future. He wasn't stuck. He was learning. Step 4, focus on effort, not approval. Dweck warns that many people, even those who claim to have a growth mindset, still crave validation over progress. They want to look smart, not necessarily become smarter. Rohan realized he had been like that too. He used to study just for good grades. He only took on tasks where he could succeed easily because failure would make him feel less intelligent. But now he focused on learning for the sake of learning. He took on harder challenges, even if he failed. He asked more questions, even if they made him look like a beginner. He started caring more about getting better than just looking good. And that mindset shift changed everything. Step 5. Celebrate growth, not just results. One of the biggest breakthroughs in mindset is understanding the value of progress over perfection. In a fixed mindset, success is about proving yourself. But in a growth mindset, success is about improving yourself. Rohan started celebrating small wins. Instead of focusing only on grades, he celebrated when he understood a tough concept. Instead of caring about finishing a book, he celebrated every new idea he learned from it. Instead of chasing big victories, he found joy in the process of getting better. And with that shift, his confidence grew. He no longer feared failure, he embraced it. Because every mistake, every struggle, every challenge was proof that he was growing. The growth mindset is a journey, not a destination. Dweck reminds us that nobody has a perfect growth mindset all the time. Even successful people struggle with self-doubt. Even the most confident learners feel discouraged sometimes. The key is to keep practicing. Catch yourself when you slip into a fixed mindset. Challenge yourself to take on difficulties instead of avoiding them. Remind yourself that growth takes time, but it's always worth it. Rohan knew his journey wasn't over. He would still face setbacks, he would still have moments of frustration. But now he had the ultimate tool, the mindset to push forward, learn, and grow. And with that, he felt unstoppable. Final thoughts. The power of mindset. Carol Dweck's Mindset isn't just a book about success. It's a book about how we see ourselves, how we approach life, and how we unlock our full potential. It teaches us that intelligence, talent, and ability are not fixed. They can all be developed with the right approach. It teaches us that failure isn't something to fear, it's something to use. And most importantly, it reminds us that who we become is up to us. You are not limited by your past. You are not defined by your mistakes. You are always growing. The question is, will you embrace the journey? Rohan had made his choice. What about you?